All right, welcome to Spoiler Kings movie review. My name is Tankcramer. I'm with Will, Peppa MD. How you doing, man?
Doing great, man. Doing great. Busy as always, but doing good. How you doing today, man?
Not too bad. Not too bad. You just want to get right into what we're talking about this week?
Yeah, man. Let's jump into all of this. I love it.
Dude, I should have downloaded the sound effect.
Yep, all that good stuff.
Yeah, I should have downloaded that. That was really good. But yeah, we're talking about the new 007 movie, No Time to Die. This movie has been delayed, I think, just as much as Black Widow. Like, it's been a while. So this movie was supposed to come out a while ago. And it just came out in theaters. And it wasn't too bad. I think theaters are starting to get normal again, which is good. Especially, I think Venom and Marvel, that Marvel movie did it.
You know what? I feel like it's getting a little too normal. I was kind of getting comfortable with the idea that when you go to the theater, there was like spacing between seats. They're not doing that anymore. Now you're just sitting next to the next, Rona-looking patient, and it sucks.
No, yeah, people running up and down the
aisle screaming, Eddie! Ridiculous, man. Traumas that don't go away.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, we should definitely check out this trailer in just a hot second. If you guys are watching at home live, we're gonna show the trailer a little bit flipped, a little bit different. And then we're going to take the video down and re-upload, and we're going to have it so that you can only watch the trailer with us live. We're going to upload the video tomorrow, and you can catch this again, share it with your friends. But for now, let's check it out. See what we got.
And then also real quick, before we get into it, also if you're watching live over on YouTube, there's a poll up, and you can give us your rating of what you think about No Time to Die. So,
hell yeah.
I think
so you be part of the show.
Nice.
You want to get into it?
No.
Hell yeah.
1 second.
That was it.
Get this going. Sorry, I got like 15 freaking windows open all at once.
I'm right. I'm ready.
Where we at?
After me.
All right, cool. Ready?
After me. She's after me.
All ready. So, this is another fun-filled James Bond movie. He is enjoying his tranquil life in Jamaica after leaving active service for some years, right? However, his peace is short-lived as his old CIA friend, Felix Leiter, shows up and asks for help. You know that old story, excuse me. But the mission is to rescue a kidnapped scientist. But that turns out to be far more treacherous than expected. So much drama in this movie, and it says leading Bond to the trail of a mysterious villain who's armed with a dangerous new technology. And that new technology is scary. I mean, it's been done before in other movies, nanotechnology. Again, we are the Spoiler Kings, so if you're not prepared for the spoilers that are going to be talked about in this movie, please save us to your favorites. Come back to us later on after you watched. But man, she was dope.
She was pretty awesome. I liked her. There was a few other parts in it that were really, I thought, well done. This one though, it does link previous James Bond films, particularly the Spectre movie. But mostly all of Daniel Craig's James Bond movies are kind of linked together. They actually have a flow, which is pretty awesome. Because some of the other ones I don't remember, like the Pierce Brosnan, I don't remember if they followed one another. This one does though. This one, you kind of need to watch Spectre, which I recommend watching. That's a really good one. And and then there's a lot that leads into this one. She was awesome. I don't know if you were talking about her or her, the new 007.
I was talking about new 007. But also, what's her name? I got her name. Where is she? Madeline. Madeline was
pretty awesome.
I didn't expect anything coming out of her, and then she just kept wowing me. I'm like, oh, she's doing that. She's doing that too. Okay.
Yeah, here, let me bring this down.
Lot
But
of
there
cool
was
stunts
also
in this movie.
the other. So Madeline was pretty awesome, but Ana de Armas played Paloma, I believe her name is Paloma. She was
Who she
the girl in the
play?
night dress that was like the other female spy in the clubby nightclub place area.
Okay, close to the
she
beginning, right? Is
Yeah,
that-
close to the beginning. Like in the trailer that we just watched right now, they showed her a lot in the
Yeah.
trailer, and she was not in the movie that much.
She wasn't. Yeah.
She was a badass though. I enjoyed her, and then we were watching it, and my girlfriend's like, oh, Ben Affleck broke up with her to go back with J-Lo. I was like, really? I mean, J-Lo was hot, but I don't know.
But Ana de
Yeah,
Armas, though.
but she was I know she was pretty awesome in it though. I haven't seen too many things of her that I remember of her in it. But I like the scenes with her. She was like a spy that was like her first time being out on the field. So she was like jittery, kind of shaky.
Oh,
Yeah, you know, so she was like,
now it's coming to me.
Yeah, with the nightgown, or not nightgown, but the night dress kind of thing.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah,
she paired well with Daniel Craig. With
I thought so. Yeah,
James. They had good chemistry, even though she was doing the whole like rookie kind of bit, but it was nice. It was cool.
Yeah, she was pretty awesome. I couldn't remember her name. I'm looking at the cast, and it was Paloma. I was like, that's funny. But yeah, Madeline was pretty awesome. She's back from her role in Inspector in the movie James Bond Spectre.
Dope.
Which is pretty awesome. But yeah, man, this is a pretty hard hitting cast. You know, Rami Malek was in it.
Oh yeah,
Jeffrey Wright. I couldn't tell if that was Jeffrey Wright because I'm like, that sounds so much like Jeffrey Wright, but it didn't look like him, and it was really dark. I'm like, is that Jeffrey Wright? I was like, because he has that very. It looks like you're right. Like he got that big beard. He had that beard, and then he got a little chunky for that. But his voice is very unique, you know, and like. I don't know. I know you said you haven't watched What If yet, but he's the Watcher. His voice is the Watcher. So and he has a very unique voice.
Sick.
And I couldn't tell. I'm like, is that him? But yeah, it ended up being him. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, man, there was Ralph Fiennes?
Ralph Fiennes.
Christopher Waltz came back. He's also was in the previous Daniel Craig James Bond. So pretty good cast, man. Pretty good cast.
The cast was stacked. Yeah.
So, but what do you think about some of the good stuff of the movie?
Okay, so I gotta just say, right off the bat, the first opening scene just displayed how much of a gangster James Bond is.
Yeah,
he classed up a whole story that we've seen time and time again. So let me enlighten you, right? So, you know, when you're a player like that, and you got hella drip, like how he does. He's with his girl, right? With what's her name?
It was Madeline.
Madeline, yeah. And he gets suspicious, right? Because he thinks that he's off the grid, which he is to everybody else, and he gets like set up. And it, turns out it was her, right? That set him up, but like she wasn't trying to. It was like almost like indirectly.
Yeah, you find out later that it was her, but not her intention, not intentionally did it.
Yeah, not by choice. It wasn't what she was trying to do. She was trying to have
like
a nice time.
Used her. Yeah, somebody else used her to get to James, which you find out later. So.
And so that opening scene is so gangster, like because he has just that one suspicion, like almost as if like let's say you're with your side chick or something like that, and then she tries to post a selfie of y'all two together and post on the gram. You gotta cut ties. You call him an Uber and you send him on the way, right? That's what he did, but in a classier way. He took her to the train and everything. He's like, deuces, never seen you again.
Well, she kind of betrayed him, and he thought she betrayed him, and like there was a secret that was told. Thank you, Michelle is my mom, liking the stream.
Nice. Thank you for joining.
Oh, let me do something real quick before I forget. But yeah, he was there. There we go. Screen. Got that all jacked up.
It's okay.
But yeah, that's kind of like how. All right, we gotta live with it for this episode. But yeah, that's just how he kind of rolled. Like he saved her life and then he ditched her.
Yeah,
like,
I felt so bad.
I know
it was so touching just for that opening scene too, just right off the bat to pull on your heartstrings. That was pretty cool. But my main thing that I loved were like from that scene was his car. Like he got so pissed that he was almost gonna like show her like, hey, like I'm gonna sacrifice both our lives because of like the shit that you pulled. And so he pulls that scene that you see in the trailer where like he's just getting shot at and he's not doing anything about it. And just like, yeah, you see all this? You see what could happen if you mess with me? And then she's like, James, do something. He's like, all right. And then boom, he just gets out of there like nothing with the cool ass car where the freaking, what is it? The headlights, like they transform into freaking little mini guns.
Yeah. That was super cool.
That was so cool. And then we also saw in the trailer, I mean, I thought it was so cool, man. The freaking, I want to call it the origami looking plane that like transformed like.
Oh, yeah.
It's so skinny of a plane. That's why.
Yeah, it was like a.
I'm calling it the origami plane. That shit was skinny and looked like paper.
Yeah, it's like a glider. Yeah, which it kind of is. It's a glider because it like there's like no motor or something, so it's like glides down.
Oh,
so it's like super stealthy type of stuff. Yeah, that was pretty cool. The way like it folded out and stuff. I'm like,
yeah.
That's the one thing with James Bond movies is the action should be good, and this crazy technology, is always going to be like borderline unrealistic but also real, because it's like it's kind of pushing it. It's like this could be real, but you're like maybe, so. But yeah, and that was like some things that like every James Bond movie needs to have, attractive women, action, cars, and cool gadgets. And for me, I think this one did not let down on any of those. Although I think like the crazy women kind of thing that they did, the back in the day, is kind of, they don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
Even with the Pierce Brosnan one, they had like women like half naked all the time, and he would like, like have sex and then find out another one. Like that's why I like Daniel Craig's run at James Bond, because it was very more grounded. I don't want to say realistic because obviously it's crazy, but it's more grounded. It's not like it's more like this could happen. If with the crazy master spy kind of thing. It's not like all about like drinking and sex and then a little bit of spy stuff. It was like it's like really cool, crazy stuff. The villains were always really crazy cool. That's why I recommend watching all the previous Daniel Craig ones. Casino Royale, Spectre, they're really, really good ones, so but this is Daniel Craig's last run. James Bond. This is the last James Bond movie.
Damn. And yeah, the movie, they show that. It's so sad, right? They talk about it, obviously off film, which is why we know about that, but yeah. So I guess one last thing was there was a scene also near the beginning too where they use like magnets to like transport somebody. That was super cool for some reason.
Oh yeah, down that like tunnel thing that they made. They went the scientists, right?
Yeah, the scientists. They
that was super
for
cool.
A quick getaway to bring the scientists through like a long tunnel, along like a, I don't know, elevator shaft or whatever.
Yeah.
They threw magnets that were like smart magnets, where they like knew what place to go inside the freaking place, and then knew what which way to face for the, what do you call that? For the polarities to be right. Yeah. And then they strap something to the scientist and he just shot down right through, like super fast, where you think you're gonna die and then it stops right when you need to, but in a safe way. He didn't break anything, and it looked legit, dude. It looked so legit.
It looked really cool. Yeah. I forgot about that until you said that, and I remember that. I was like, that was it's in the beginning of the film because so much more cool things happen. But yeah,
So
that was
many more. That was
super
one
cool.
thing.
I'm like, they just chucked them down there, and then it's like it's kind of like remind me like if you ever did one of those Six Flag rides where you drop and like the air brakes kind of catch you at the bottom. It was something like that, but way more way more terrifying. that was super cool. That was cool.
That was cool. I like the gunfights. The gunfights pretty dope.
Yeah.
I like how just stone cold James Bond is, and he has this, and at least the Daniel Craig version, he carries himself so classy, which of course is the James Bond movie, right? But man, like you said, because it's realistically classy, it just makes it so, you know, ideally relatable, if you will. And anything else that kind of stick out to me? Man, I liked the whole bit of like what the technology was with the nanobites. They were like super specific of like only targeting specific DNA and killing only that DNA. I like how that's just like nuts of an idea. And for someone to pull that off, man, you got to be evil to do something like that. The villains were so dope for that.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool how they tied it because in the last film he kind of like faked his death, and went to go live happy ever after type of thing.
Yeah.
And then he kind of like comes back and they replaced him. There's the new no, was it Naomie, I believe her name was the new 007.
Yes. Naomie.
Mm-hmm. She was badass in her right. She was really cool. But she was more like by the books kind of spy, like not as off the cuff as James Bond. She was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I forgot what I was getting at. I completely forgot what I was getting at.
Nah, you're good.
I don't remember. Brain fart. Trying to do like too many things. But yeah, I don't know. It was very realistic.
Well, let me ask you. So with Naomie, taking over the 007 name, right? They kept mentioning in the movie, "Oh, it's just a number." But we all know that it's not just a number. Like if you take that role, you got to take it serious and you got to carry the role right. Do you think she could play 007 as her own standalone movie?
That's what the question is. A lot of people are asking is like, is she going to be in James Bond number 20? Dude, James Bond 26. It's like this one was the 25th. I believe it's the 25th James Bond film, which is like what? But yeah, I mean, but yeah, it's totally.
I wasn't mad that she played a 007.
She was awesome.
She was good in her own way. You know?
But I liked in the film too, like he like kind of passed it to her because like I guess he kind of took it back, because they had that little thing of like where he comes back to that's what I was gonna get at, where he's coming back to the headquarters. And they're all like, "Oh, 007," and they're like, because they're both there, and they're like, so everyone in the headquarters all freaked out. They're like, "What?" So like she was kind of like, "Oh, does that bother you?" And it's like because like they're referring to her, not him. When they're saying 007. Yeah. And then like he like M, the head boss guy, the new M. He's like he's like, "Hey, Penny, was it Moneypenny, the secretary?" He's like, "Oh, you can go and see him." And then like he's like, "Oh no, not you, just James." And he's like, "Oh, does that bother you?" I was like, little things like that was like really, really like they had this little beef, but also like respect for each other. Yes. That I thought was really well done. Because at the end, because she gave him back like the 007, and then like towards the end of the movie, he kind of like gave it back to her. He's like, "No, it's yours." You know what I mean? So it's like I'm like, I think that's the best way to make her the 007. It's like literally James Bond passed it on to her. You know what I mean? Right. So I don't know if that's what they're gonna do, because then technically it's not James Bond anymore. I don't know. You know?
I play around with the idea, like if she were to be one. We've heard references in movies in the past. One in particular that I'm thinking of, I can't think of the name. You probably know it. It's with Eddie Murphy, and he makes a James Bond reference. He's like, "Oh, I'm not 007. I'm 009 and a half." Did you ever get that? Did you ever get that reference?
What?
I get that reference now. Now that I'm an adult.
Yeah, I get it now. Now
I thought that was so funny, man. I not that I was thinking about James Bond like that, but I saw when he was like taking a shower or something, and I immediately thought to like, oh, like I bet this was put in for, you know, the girlfriends and wives and I guess female counterparts that joined their man to watch the movie at the theater, you know, just to give them a little eye candy, if you will.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking like, oh, and then I thought of, I don't know why I wasn't thinking of his penis size, but I was thinking like something along those lines, but I wasn't like thinking about it. And then I thought of that line, 009 and a half.
That's funny. Yeah. Is that it's not Beverly Hill Cop.
No, it's something.
No.
Okay, I remember the plot of the movie, if you will, and I know we can just look it up, but it's when Eddie Murphy plays, I think, with Owen Wilson or somebody, and they play as spies or something, and he's on a mission that really he's not supposed to like be in charge of. Now I gotta look it up too.
I Spy.
I Spy. There you go. It wasn't like the greatest movie, but it was just
2002.
funny reference.
I hardly remember that. Oh my god, yeah, with Owen Wilson. Holy crap!
It was Owen Wilson. Yeah, that's what a weird combo.
Yeah.
But they did their thing. But yeah, those are a few things that stood out to me. What about you, man? What were some of your kind of favorite parts?
Yeah, I mean, like all those I enjoyed as well as a lot.
Yeah.
Just like the part where like after, you know, him and the new 007 kind of have their little beef, and he goes into the room with M, and he lays down some shit to M. He goes, is the desk bigger or is it the same size? Because he's like he's like you know, making it seem like he's like small, or like it doesn't fit him, you know what I mean? Kind of like the whole role doesn't fit him. And it was like this little thing, he's like, oh, now you work for the CIA. He's like, well, they asked nicely, you know. It was like just like little like things, you know, that I enjoyed with that. You know, it was just like that whole back and forth where like James was kind of like being James, and then M is like trying to be the guy now, you know. And so he's kind of like, he's like, oh, no more dicking around, like we gotta, you know, like, you know, where the new boss comes in and is like, you know, like, well, we have to be right to the books, and where the old boss was like, whatever, you know, get the job done. You know. And I felt that like that was a lot. But yeah, I like that whole scene, because then it started off kind of jokingly, and it ended kind of like, oh, are they not on good terms anymore? I'm like, is it at first I thought it was gonna be like the bad guys versus James Bond versus, you know, the 007. You know, I thought there were going to be like three teams kind of going on, but then they squashed that pretty quick, where M went to James and he's like, hey, listen, we're on the same side, man. Let's work together. And I was like, okay. You know, I'm like, part of me is like, I kind of wanted to see James versus the new 007, but part of me is like, I kind of want them to work together more, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just really, really cool. When they go visit Chris Bolfoyd, I think his name is, when they Christopher Waltz's character in jail. You know, and he's coming Bolfield, yeah, and he's coming down this hallway kind of thing. That was really creepy and cool. Like it was a really cool way to like reintroduce this character for a little bit. And it was like, and he's like strapped into this cage, and it's coming down this hall with the shadows, and like, that's pretty cool. It's very silly, but very cool.
You know what that reminded me of, man? Actually, a lot of this movie reminded me of another movie or series of movies. You've seen Austin Powers, right? Remember Austin Powers, Goldmember, where they catch Dr. Evil in the first act, and he's in a jail just like that, same lighting and everything.
Yeah.
I was reminded of that, and I kept laughing while I was watching this.
That's funny.
But he's like, we're not so different, you and I. It was so cliche. I kind of feel like, wait, maybe I'm having a slow moment, but am I making the connection right now that how do you say, Austin Powers was a James Bond parody? Is that what that is?
Yeah. Yeah.
Has that always been the thing? Because like,
Yeah.
shit, dude, that's hilarious.
Yeah. It was kind of, you know, and then, you know, Dr. Evil was kind of like it was kind of like a generic-y, kind of silly, old school villain.
Okay.
You know,
That's so
that
funny.
didn't get with the times. So yeah, it was kind of like the whole James Bond parody, but you know, they took all like oh, British people have bad teeth, so he had like jacked up teeth, and you know, and then like him coming to the future and stuff like that. I thought it was always really cool. So it was like, especially in the 90s, like everyone was frozen and then like unfrozen when the bad guy came back, like Demolition Man.
Yeah.
Like, that was a big thing. It was like, oh, the bad guy will be back, so we have to preserve the good guy. It was like there's gonna be no one else in the future that can ever beat this guy except for this one.
No, we're not gonna evolve as humans like we've done for the past 2000, or I'm sorry, millions of years. 2000. Who am I? Millions of years. It's funny.
But yeah, this is definitely a parody. Yeah, that's funny. I forgot about that jail scene. But I mean that scene has been done before in different ways. This way was a different. I don't remember one as similar, but they've always done it. Even in like the Marvel, you know, with when Winter Soldier was, you know, in the cube and had his arms tied down.
True.
There's that. So, but this one was really cool because it kind of stretched out his arrival. And it made Madeline kind of freak out because she had something on her that wasn't, you know, and then James was part of it, and it was like really cool. But yeah, so spoilers, he winds up like freaking out at the end, like of the conversation where was it Blofeld? Blofeld. I can never forget. Blofeld like was kind of like messing with his head. Like really messing with his head. I was like, damn. Like, and only Christopher Waltz is that good of an actor. Where like when I first saw him in Spectre, just perfect. I was like, he's meant to be a Bond villain. He has the accent, he has the attitude, everything about him. He has the look. He's just like, he's a perfect Bond villain, you know. And at least he got an ending in this one. I didn't like it. But it has it where, so yeah, he was freaking out, and I guess, and then James had grabbed Madeline, who had the thing on her wrist that was gonna kill Blofeld. What is it? Blofeld. Jesus, why can't I? I'm like,
it's such a weird name.
I know.
It does not stick. It does not stick. Blofeld. It didn't stick to me. I had to be like, wait, is it okay?
Yeah, and I've seen him a few times. I was just like, Blofeld? I was like, but yeah, so James wind up grabbing her wrist, which put the thing on his hand, and then once Blofeld like made him go crazy, like James like just like went up to him and just start choking his ass out. He's like dying. I was like, damn. I was like, that got real. Because but then he touched him with the thing, and the thing was meant to kill him. So the nano bots went after his DNA, and like you die like within like seconds, you know, which is crazy. But then they give like one of the biggest plot points in the film, and they really kind of go over it real quick. He's like, well, how do I wash it off? And he's like, you don't. Like, that's it, man. It's in you forever. I was like, damn, that's hardcore. You know, which it plays a role at the end of the movie.
It reminds me of that whole like Metal Gear Solid like thing that gets injected into Solid Snake, where it ages him, and it's like, oh, it's permanent. You got this for the rest of your life. Yeah. It's fucked up, man.
Yeah. But yeah, what are some of the bad things?
Some of the bad things. The freaking beginning, man. So they show a little origin of what's her name when she's younger.
Oh, Madeline.
Yeah, it was something so small. Like, I have very few things that I didn't like about the movie, but when Madeline, they show her when she's a little girl, right? And she's like at home with her mom, who's just like bedridden, or she's just in bed and just a lazy kind of
she's kind of an asshole,
like a deadbeat even.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, go play. Like, I'm not gonna parent you right now. Good night, baby. That's how you parent. That's
That's a
what,
segue.
that's right. That's what she didn't do, and and it made, I feel like it kind of hardened Madeline as a person
Mhm.
growing up. I bet, and just in that scene alone, I guess her daddy, which we'll find out later who he is, but he, how do you say, he had this like secret life that somehow he had weapons in the house, and someone came to like to kill the whole family, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was
But you find out it was Safan, which is Rami Malek,
yes,
his character.
Safin. And with Safin, he in the beginning, right? We don't know who he is, and he has a mask on, and he's just real generic looking mask to, I guess, hide his identity. And
Yeah.
the little girl, she does well by hiding. Madeline does well by hiding, and she avoids getting killed by him until she makes like a wrong move of like making noise or something like that, which she's a little girl, like what do you expect? But so he tries to like chase her and whatnot, and she gets to jump on, or no, he not chase her, but he tries to attack her, and she gets to jump on him, shoots him, right?
Mhm.
And downs his ass. She downed him for, it had to be a little bit of time, right? I'm thinking like how long has passed between time she grabs his ass and drags him outside. I think she was going to go like dispose of the body or something.
Yeah.
And during all that time, you see the camera panning on her, dragging him, and he still has his gun attached to him.
Yeah.
That was problematic. You don't think to take away the weapon from the guy that just tried to kill you?
Yeah.
That bothered me so much earlier.
Yeah. But it's also, she's a little girl, so I'm like, okay, maybe. But also, I'm like, you knew enough to grab the gun and hide.
Right.
So,
right.
yeah. So it's like, I don't know.
Like, I understand not everyone is familiar with the double tap, how do you say, rule from Zombieland, but you gotta like at least separate. I mean, the kids watch TV all the time, right? Or YouTube videos. In every movie and show you ever see, the bad guy get shot down, and the person that is the hero, they always go up to them. What do they first do? They kick the weapon away from them. It's always the first thing. Kick it, and then you secure him, make sure the bad guy, or bad person, I should say, is immobilized and without a weapon. She didn't do that. And again, she's a little girl, but come on. You knew all the other stuff, but you couldn't do that one.
Yeah. So I was really kind of confused on who her dad was. So her dad was Mr. White from the movie from the previous movie, and he was part of Spectre.
Yes.
And I was like, what? I was like, it's like one of those things, like, in order to really, really understand, it's like you got to watch all of them right before this one, because I was like, it's been a while since I watched like all the other ones, and I was just trying to piece things together. I was like, shit, what? So that's the only thing for me that's really annoying about these James Bonds is you really need to watch the previous ones to fully understand. You can kind of get by and you're like, okay, her dad was this bad guy, but if you want the full on like details and stories and how it affects James and all that stuff, like you need to watch all the previous ones. So that's what it's kind of like. The other thing I was like, it should be a story where it kind of like, if it's gonna set something up like that, you need to tell why that's important in the story, even if it's really, really quick. You can't just assume that people watched the previous movie. You know what I mean? I think it did an okay job with that, with like her daddy was somebody bad, and that's all you kind of needed to know. Yeah. But how it really affected James, because once James found out who she was, he kind of lost his shit. He's like, what? He's like grabbing her, throwing her on the bed. He's like, shit, we're going. And like, so, but it also like bothered him because he like really did love her. So,
he did.
It kind of sucks. Do you want to talk about the big spoiler at the end?
Yes.
Before we get into reviews.
Yes. Spoiler alert. If you're not ready to hear about this, pause this, save this to your favorites, save this to your saved links and your bookmarks bar, whatever you got to do, and come back. So the big spoiler that we see is that Madeline, she has a daughter. A daughter that's with her, and she's been hiding her for a little bit, and I can see why. When you have kids and you do bad things or you're involved with bad things, your kids tend to be targeted, and that sucks. So you hide them. So that's what she did. And when the little girl finally came to light, we found out that she is actually who? None other than
James Bond's daughter.
Damn,
bright blue eyes
boy.
and everything, man. Although in the beginning, he saw the eyes, big blue eyes, and he looked and he's like, and she's like, it's not yours. It's not yours. And the whole time you're like, yeah, fuck it is. Well, yes, it is. Come on. And at the end of the movie, right at the very, very end, she's on the phone with James and she tells him, it's like, oh, she does have your eyes. And you're like, and then it ends like that. I was like, what? And that's the first time I believe I was looking at it. I think it's the first time James Bond has ever had a kid.
Ooh.
Has ever had a kid. Like I don't think he's. Although afterward, my girlfriend was telling me, she goes, "Oh, you remember that cartoon James Bond Jr.?" I was like, "What?" She showed. It was like, I have no idea. She like played the song and the intro. I'm like, I don't ever remember that. And I remember most stupid cartoons from the early 90s, and I do not remember James Bond Jr. So, I don't know if that counts as another kid, but yeah, this one in the movies at least is the first official like kid, which is pretty cool. So, and that was a cool scene. He made breakfast for her, and he was all like looking. He's like, "What do you think?" And she's like, "It's okay." And he like was like looking like it was like it was cute. It was like interesting. But then that was short lived because then Safin or Safan, whatever, he's coming to get him. So
yeah.
And then the other big spoiler at the end is right before Madeline tells James she does have your eyes, is right before he dies.
Yes, so. on an island, so he can't even escape.
That's getting bombed.
Yes, how sad is that, man? What a way to go.
He's poisoned, so he's poisoned with a poison he can't ever get rid of. That's in his body. It's gonna get bombed, and it's in the middle of an island. And he just found out he had a daughter. I was like, dude, what the hell, man?
Or one for the homies, because that's sad boy hours right there.
Yeah, I was like, if they ever wanted a way to like kill James Bond, that's the way. It's like, no. We're gonna make sure there's no way, because maybe you survive the explosion, you're not gonna survive the poison, and you can't see anybody else because you'll just give it to them, and it's with you forever. And I was like, damn, they made sure, like, and he was like stabbed, I believe, like.
Yeah.
Because he was fighting with Rami Malek. That was a pretty good fight scene. I was expecting a little bit more, but like he kind of beat the shit out of Rami, and then I think he stabbed him or something like that. I can't remember. It was pretty quick.
Yeah, his kills are pretty cool here, man. I think one of my favorite kills in this one was with Cyclops. Remember that one? He got him in the chokehold, and then his eye exploded. You didn't see that one, man?
Oh yeah.
He has like a red eye, and it goes.
Yeah, so that's one of the guys. He has like this like a fake eye, like a robotic eye that was a camera for one of the bad guys. And Q is their their tech guy, so he gave him a watch that has an EMP in it, and he's like, I don't know how strong it is. It's never been tested. And he like puts it in the guy's head, and yeah, you see his eye just like glow and a poof. I was like, ew. It was like a little mini bomb in his head. That was pretty sick.
Oh man, that was good.
Yeah,
that was good.
I forgot about that. Yeah, some of the fighting was really well done. The choreography was really well done. The cinematography, it looked good. Good story. So yeah. I mean, that being said, you just want to get into the reviews then?
Yeah, let's jump into the reviews. Let's do it.
Right, let me get this up. Boom. Go ahead, man.
Alrighty. So here at the Nerd Huddle, we, the Spoiler Kings, like to review movies a very different way. We review it one of three options. It's either a watch now, which means you have to drop everything and see it right now. A watch later, which means you can put it on the back burner and get to it another day. It's an okay movie. Or it's a watch never, in which you have to just never touch this movie. Don't even give it any time of day. But what do you think about the movie? What do you rate it?
Man, so No Time to Die. This is Daniel Craig's last James Bond film. I gotta give it a now. It was really, really well done. But I can see some people maybe later if you're not too big into the James Bond thing. But even if you're not big into it, I would still like watch it now. Good story, great action, great everything was really well done, man. Really well done. I really enjoyed this movie. Now I can't wait till it comes out. I watch all of Daniel Craig's James Bonds like back to back to back one weekend because that's gonna be one fun weekend for me. Yeah, so we got Oli in chat. Happy Monday. Happy Monday, Oli. If you go over on YouTube, we got a little poll going up. Let us know what you guys think of No Time to Die. So what about you, man? What do you rate it?
I mean, so watching 007, James Bond, No Time to Die, I didn't have that much experience watching James Bond movies growing up. So to kind of see this one, and I guess a few of the other ones in the past, but like in bits and pieces, this one really impressed me. This movie really impressed me for the action, the drama that's involved, the heartstrings that get pulled while you watch this film. Everything was so well put together for an action packed movie that you gotta watch this now. I think it's a watch now. And it's so cool. Like I wish you could watch it at home, but you got to go watch it in theaters too. It's worth watching it on the big screen for sure.
Yeah. Even just the action with all the crazy the scenes is definitely to go see in the theaters. I'm kind of glad they pushed it back, as much as they did, because it was a really, really good movie. I'm sure it would have done well on streaming, but I mean, it was made to be on the big screen. But yeah, that up here. We got so on Rotten Tomatoes, the tomato meter got it at 84%. So it's technically certified fresh over there, and the audience is at 88%. So they're about right in the same area, which is pretty good. We don't see that too much. We see what some of the critics said.
Sounds like a hit.
Yeah. To do I don't know. I'm guessing it's the director's name. I don't want to pronounce his name because it's like really. I don't want to murder his name. But he said the director deserves credit for taking the character and adding real stakes to his 15-year story arc. So, which is very true. 25th film in the franchise is at once on brand with 24 films that preceded it, with managing new possibilities for almost 60 years series. So yeah, I mean 60 years these series has been going on, and this is how it's been going. So one bad review was they toughened Daniel Craig as Bond up to soften him, which I don't uncharacteristically in this film. To love the film, you have to love James Bond as a person, which is odd for a spy and his legacy. Which I don't agree with, because he could still be tough and still be soft. It was like, and I think that's what we're talking about. I was talking about earlier. It was like you could be tough and not like, be what's the correct term? Misogynistic to women or whatever. It was like you don't have to treat women like a piece of meat. You know what I mean? And you could be tough and still be soft, like you love somebody and actually love them. You know what I mean? Not like, oh, I love you right now until next week, So yeah, so that I don't agree with, but and I'm like, you have to this one, you love James Bond, as what he does and what he fights for, it's just he's not saving just the world, he's saving the people he loves, which I think is better. So yeah, and then some of the same with the audience, if you love the franchise, you'll love it. You love this movie, you'll laugh, you'll cry, blah blah blah. Campy 007 land, we loved it. That one gave him a 4 out of 5 stars. So I don't know, but I wouldn't say it was campy 007. It had its moments. It had its campy 00 moments. Like he had to say Bond, James Bond. You know, like they have
He
to say
did.
that
He
once.
said it
Yeah,
once. That was
you
good.
know.
That was
So, but it did not disappoint. And that's what a lot of the other reviews are saying. So that was pretty good with us. Yeah, man. I'm trying to think. See, real quick, what it did in the box office.
Oh,
I knew I was looking. I was forgetting something.
I guess while you're looking that up, I guess my final words for the movie, or my final thoughts, are that I think that there is light at the end of the tunnel. I don't think it's the end of James Bond, even though it is Daniel Craig's last movie, because one of two people could be in the run for the next 007. It could either be the one that was playing 007, the one that like replaced him when they thought he was dead, who's played by the fabulous who is
Naomie,
played by Lashana Lynch. I think she could do a phenomenal job. She's gonna piss off a lot of colonizers because she's black and she's a woman.
Female. Yeah,
I love it. I think she would do amazing. So
she was awesome in this one.
That's something to look forward to, hopefully. And if not her, let's say now knowing the spoiler news that James Bond has a daughter, what if she grows up and has like a crazy story, kind of like a Batman Begins type thing where she turns into the new 007? That'd be interesting.
That'd be pretty cool. I could see something like that where like Naomie is 007 and then trains the daughter. Kind of thing, kind of like a Batman Robin type of thing, and then kind of So it's like now, like her dad was 007, now her mentor is 007. And say something happens to her, and now she, like, not only, that would be pretty cool too. If they want to do something along those lines.
I can see that,
but I don't think they will, man. I don't think they will. I think they're gonna reboot the franchise with a guy. The big one is Idris Elba. I would not mind. I love Idris Elba. He is awesome. He is awesome in almost everything he does. He knows how to be a bad guy. He knows how to be a good guy. He knows how to be goofy, funny, serious. He's so a great actor. And I'm like, there's one qualification for James Bond. You have to be British. Like, that's it. That's it. Like, I don't want an American. I don't want and it needs to be British, because I was like, you never let them get their time, to shine, because like you have Daniel Craig was in the other Knives Out movie and that stupid Kentucky Fried Chicken Colonel Sanders accent, But
I would love to see Idris Elba play him.
I would love to.
My favorite scene of all time from him, and it's not even like a crazy scene of his, but it was when he was on The Office for a little bit, where he played the boss.
Right. Yeah.
And he had this kind of rivalry with Jim Halpert, and like they're playing soccer, and oh my god, I could not stop laughing for like a solid 10 minutes when Idris Elba kicked the soccer ball and he was aiming for Jim's head. Yeah. And then he ducks, because of course you're gonna duck when you see a ball flying at you, and then it hits like another woman in the face.
Yeah. Oh my god, I forgot about that.
And then Idris Elba's like, "Why'd you move?" Like, what the fuck? Oh man.
Yeah, that was the end of The Office, but there was a few good episodes, and yeah, that was a good one. I forgot about he was in that. But yeah, I would love Idris Elba. If not, I want to see somebody like a nobody. Give it to somebody who's like an up and comer who can do it for another 15 years, like Daniel Craig, and give us another good story. If you're gonna do something like that. So, I wouldn't mind that either. But let's see. I just don't want another big name. Give us something different. Or give us like I would love Idris Elba. If not Idris Elba, then I want an up and comer. But
I agree.
So the poll on YouTube, we only had 2 people vote. We had one person say now and one person say later. So both people seem to enjoy it. And then real quick before we end, so No Time to Die debuts slightly behind expectations with $56 million. domestically and $300 million globally.
Snap.
Yeah, I still think that was pretty good, but also I think they should have played more trailers before it came out. You know, I think they spent all their money when it was supposed to come out into like 2020, and it didn't happen. So now, you know, it's like I think they should have pushed it a little bit more and to remind people like, hey, this is out, because I got hyped to go see it before. You know, and then COVID happened, and then it got delayed forever. So, but for me, it's like this should have been way more money than Venom. It should have had way more money than Venom. Such a better story, such a better acting, everything. You know, so much better than Venom. Let There Be Carnage, because that was, you know, and I think that's still was that still number one? I'm not sure. If not, it was pretty close. Yeah. Man. No Time to Die claimed the number one box office, and then Venom followed up. Venom still had 32 million. Are you kidding me?
Wow.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's how it is. But cool, man. We got a comment real quick. See, Erica, next is James Bond Jr. We just talked about that.
I gotta check that out. I gotta watch that, Junior.
Stick around. So we're gonna end the show here. But if you're watching live, stick around. We're gonna announce the winner, and then we'll watch the stupid James Bond Jr. Intro. We'll watch that. Okay. All right. But that is it from us today. If you're watching live, stick around. If you're watching on replay, we will see you guys next week.